Collider ripoff. Collider ripoff.
And it was insane, like a movie. Like you were watching it. This second clip, you were like sucked into the movie. Like you were there watching it. This second clip, you were like sucked into the movie. Like you
sucked into the movie. Oh my goodness. Sucked into the movie. Ah. Sucked into the movie.
You were there. And it was insane. Like I was sitting over there and going, wow. I know I said wow out loud a couple times. I feel I couldn't hear it because we had it up pretty loud.
What?
What?
What? Out loud a couple times. I feel I couldn't hear it because we had it up pretty loud.
What?
What? Exactly.
And the download experience is
Big deal. What are you talking about? Movies have been playing loud in cinemas for, well, I don't know what loud. What was the DVA waiting? I mean, was it calm? Was it 85 DVA waiting? Was it, was it ear piercing? I don't know. No facts on this, By these kaleidescape things, I mean, we all know kaleidescape's a load of rubbish. I mean, look at the movie selection, for crying out here. It's pretty rubbish. And, yeah, what's the other things? Oh, crikey. Still.
Those scenes were just probably the best I've ever heard it, honestly, in a theater.
Yeah, they're still playing this rubbish Top Gun Maverick, which has got a rubbish sound mix. They're still playing this rubbish. So you buy a kaleidoscope that costs a lot of money, and they're still playing this rubbish. Crying out loud. It says it's got all this movie selection. Blimey. Well, you won't get original Star Wars on there, I can tell you that. So it's not worth buying. Can Kaleidescape do Laserdisc? Nope. Look at him. He looks pretty miserable after spending all that money on a kaleidoscope. I won't be surprised.
I want to go over your and if you want a drive, they have a 31. Now you go to the hard drive, which
storage. I really couldn't care less. I couldn't care less if it can store a trillion ziggy meggy tera byte or whatever. I couldn't really care less. Really couldn't care less. Here's my movie collection over here. Physical. There's the laser discs. Wow. Physical. Keep it physical. Gotta keep it physical. Physical. Oh, gotta stay physical. And crikey, this guy's not going to get physical. I'm trying to lose weight and I'm trying to get my health back together. So I can get out and get the flipping, I mean, this dude's got to be a bit heavier than me. He's got to be at least, I wouldn't be surprised if he's on to close to being 15 stone. I'm just gone a little over 13. And I can't say I'm proud of that. I mean, I was winning. I was getting down to about 12.8 stone. And I was starting to shed weight. And I started coming back on again because my flipping health went back down down the rabbit hole. And I got seduced to the pizza side. Not every single damn day, but anyway, you only have to have a few of those. And then flipping that. Your calories just go back up, for crying out loud. For what? Just to keep pizza Domino's in business. Yeah, but no. Look at it. This is all the rubbish they offer. Crikey, this stuff is not cheap. This dude suddenly, well, he probably won himself a lottery scratch card. Oh dear. Oh. Yeah. I mean, if I won myself a lottery scratch card, seriously, there's no way I would put Kaleidescape on the what do you call it, on the buying list. No way. Kaleidescape is not even on the lower end of my food chain. I don't like it. It looks like a load of rubbish. I'm not into streaming. I'm not into this junk and putting movies on it. You got to spend a lot of time to put the bloody damn things on there. Crikey. You know. Well, everyone's into the in high numbers, you know. Yeah, there'll still be near field mixes. I don't know what. I don't know, they say they claim this, claim that, but is there any concrete proof? I mean, look at this flipping thing here. My goodness. What the heck? That's not cheap. 24 terabyte. Crying out loud. I was kind of curious as I was talking to someone saying, you know, oh my goodness, look at the price of this bloody thing. It's almost $9,000. I wonder what the postage is. Is it free postage? See? So they buy it just to play rubbish Top Gun. And they got the bloody lights turned on. They got bloody loudspeakers in front of the bloody projection screen. You know, and then you end up looking at a crap image. It's supposed to be high quality, and they got the bloody lights. They got the bloody house lights turned on. Well, that doesn't surprise me, because usually you see that happen in cinema today. There's no real showmanship in cinema anymore. That's gone that long faded decades ago. Oh, it's like someone that goes and sees what is it? Romulus. This guy I know, he goes and sees Alien and Romeus, where thy xenomorph be. Yeah, just he told me the spoiler at the end. Yeah, this girl at the end of the movie, she's pregnant with an alien human or whatever, something. Oh yeah, great. There's like something original there, no? Oh dear. Oh dear, this Collider is rubbish. Look at it. I don't even like the look of the bloody thing. The unit, it looks so bloody cheap. I'd expect a bit more cosmetic bloody design for this bloody Kaleidescape for how much it costs. I wonder if the face part of this Kaleidescape is made of plastic. Because I was just talking to someone the other day. I was having a rant about things like plastic. You know, even this laptop, the screen. Most of this laptop is made of plastic, for crying out. And then you got the phones. Yeah, they're mostly made of plastic. And there's water in there with a glass, and guess what? A plastic straw. Actually, a plastic straw is better than I make sure I dispose my plastic in a way that it's not going to piss people off or piss me off or make me depressed, you know. As you think, bloody hell, the blazes! There's all this plastic ending up at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean or whatever. What? Crying out loud! I tell you, one day all these Kaleidescapes will end up in the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, what's the point of seeing, the bloody loudspeakers in? You see, look, there's the projection screen. And you can't even see the edge of the projection screen because you've got a blimmin' loudspeaker block in it. Oh, for Pete's sake. Oh, there. And look, see, there's another useless use of a bloody loudspeaker in the audioholic smart room. It's all reflective, yeah. So you're going to get projection light reflecting onto that, and then it's going to do very weird things in the room with because you know light, like I say, light and shadow. It makes up imaging and such, and so you're going to get bizarre reflections because the audiophile Gene DeSala, he's not a believer of having loudspeakers fully behind a projection screen, because he says his hearing's a little bit on the poor side because of all the rock music or all the drums or whatever he plays, and he's got hearing damage. Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't lose that much high frequency sound, when speakers are behind a projection screen. You can, as long as the components are good and you can compensate, and with plenty of headroom. So yeah, with my JBL HF horns, I've got no problem hearing high frequencies. Yeah, look at this collider rubbish. Look at it. It looks so cheap. It looks really cheap. I don't care. I don't really care how quick you can bring a movie up and watch it. The thing that bothers me is with these streaming services, like one streaming one thing is like where I was watching. You buy something on Amazon and you get like
This game.
Yeah, I'm not into this game. Looks like a load of rubbish. Yeah, skip it. Crikey. Look at it.
Drives will have multiple strato. You could do like an AV Pro Edge HDMI matrix, and you could feed off of that.
A matrix. Oh, red pill, blue pill matrix. All right.
Ones in your house as well. So there's different options. I know that upscale clients like Yacht.
See, this is where everyone says, kaleidescape is aimed for the snobby rich people. Look, there's a yacht. Kaleidescape Marine. It's aimed for the snobs. The snob market, because they're the easiest ones to manipulate their mind into thinking, oh, this is luxury. Believe me, cinema, home theater isn't luxury. It isn't. You can go and get all the great components, and I mean, you put in real 35 together, real 35. But there is, at the end of the day, there's simply not enough 35mm prints out there to go and buy. Nearly most of them are probably destroyed. And there's only so many, well, not even, I would say, literally thousands, but there's only so many that will be in English language. The rest or whatever are going to be in dubbed language. And what's the point of buying a 35 print in dubbed language that you can't even understand? Oh dear.
Yachts, for example, they'll use the solid state drives. They'll have multiple Strato C players in there as well. That's the kind of client that does these kind of expanded systems. So if you want more storage in a solid state drive, they have a 31 terabyte.
I don't want more storage. I don't really care for storage. Here's my storage. Physical media. Physical. It's like when you think of the technology, you think of the gold anodized disc that's on the Voyager Pro. I was doing research on it, and though it's on the Voyager probes, it's kind of similar or like it. I think like the CED, the charge electrode device, coupling charge electrode device, or something, CED, which is like a laserdisc format that came around before they did laserdisc. It used a stylus, and the disc is gold and such, and the disc I read on the specifications would last somewhere equivalent around about 1 billion years. You got to be joking. How about they come up with those figures? Have they got a space-time bloody time machine sort of thing that can say, oh, it's going to last that long, you know? But yeah, okay. It's definitely going to supersede all the the um, the other, well, disk formats. When you think of a hard drive, it's a circular disk. Information's put on it, and it's a circular disk with the information on it. You know, and of course it's not optical. The moving parts on it are a little bit different, and or you got ones where they're flash drives, or because that's what they say here, flash drives. And so these things have got virtually no moving part. Well, they are virtually no moving part. Everything's stored electronically.
Terabyte drive, which will give you like 500 movies in 4K. And if you
500 movies in 4K. 500 worthless, woke movies.
now you go to the hard, forced a couple of demo clips here. We watched Top Gun Maverick, which,
Boring.
to be honest with you, I saw Top Gun Maverick in the theater and I liked it. They did justice as a sequel.
Wow, I'm surprised Gene DeSella said the word liked it. He didn't say love it. Because how can you love it? It's immaterial at the end of the day. Liked it, yes. But you don't say love. I love that movie, Top Gun Maverick. No, you say you like it. Or you totally, utterly disliked it. But he liked it. I didn't. I totally disliked it because for the reason I can't stand Tom Cruise anymore. Oh dear.
Honest with you, I saw Top Gun Maverick in the theater and I liked it. They did, which, to be honest with you, I saw Top Gun Maverick in the theater and I liked it. They did.
So they played the stupid Top Gun Maverick with the stupid Mark 10. Mark 10. I thought it was Mark 20. Or was it Mark 10? I can't remember. Anyway, it's completely fictitious in the movie. The Dark Star aircraft, which is going to be the superseder to the SR-71 retired Blackbird stealth reconnaissance aircraft. I don't think they wheeled it out yet. Yeah, and dogfight. Dog. Oh, I don't like dog fights. I don't like dogs fighting. That's cruel to animals. That. So dog fighting, but no cat fighting. I suppose if I want to watch cat fighting, I'll just watch an episode of Dynasty.
They did justice as a sequel to the first Top Gun movie that we grew up with as kids. Liked it. They did justice as a sequel to the first Top Gun movie that we grew up with as kids. But
as kids, I was an adult when I saw Top Gun. So he's younger than me. They're younger than me, so they were kids when they saw Top Gun. I was an adult then.
justice as a sequel to the first Top Gun movie that we grew up with as kids. But
yeah, I can remember the Dolby Stereo experience in the cinema. Yeah, it was pretty good. I kind of look behind me sometimes, hearing some of the mono matrix sound effects or such, and looking left to right on the screen, and some of the sounds and the music as such, and particularly the opening with the music, the way it's going boom, 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 click, 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 going from left to right, sort of had a nice sort of sound on the. Still does. It's better in discreet because of the channel separation. You don't get too much crosstalk.
But when I watched it in here, it felt like a very cinematic experience to me as kids. But when I watched it in here, it felt like a very cinematic experience to me. Now I compared it to streaming because I put
Cinematic. Yeah, but how can it be cinematic? You got speakers stuck in front of the projection screen. Oh,
as well on your demo in the Mach 10 scene.
Yep, the kind of opening of the movie.
Right, and then we did the dogfight scene. Why don't you talk a little like the Mach 10 scene?
Yep,
yeah, the Mach 10. Yeah, the Mach 10. Does it feel like does it feel like the pressure is pushing you back into the seat? Because you could still lean forward with all the bass and the bass, sub LFE. You could still lean forward in the seat, so there's not real, G-force there pushing you back, pressing you, pinning you back into the seat.
The kind of opening of the movie.
Right, and then we did the dogfight scene. Why don't you talk a little bit about your experience when you listened to that in this room?
Sure. I mean, like you, I had experience with the streaming version, and we had talked about it, and it sounded lifeless, like you said, very compressed. Almost had to crank the volume up to even like get any activity in the mix.
Yeah.
Whereas like here is a completely different ball game. It was very get any activity in the mix.
Yeah.
Whereas like here is almost had to crank the volume up to even like get any activity. It's like you said,
crank
very compressed. Almost had to crank the volume up to even like.
You got to crank it. Oh my goodness! You should have got JBL Cinema speakers. Then you wouldn't have to crank it. You're gonna get little tiny home theater speakers like these. That's not what they use on dub stages or even in cinemas. You put that loudspeaker there into a cinema. It wouldn't happen. It would not happen. It wouldn't even be approved. That's not the selection choice. No. JBL, dear oh dear.
And like get any activity.
Really done their research
in the mix.
Yeah.
Whereas like here is a completely different ball game. It was very, very dynamic. Like the bass was amazing. I felt like there was very little bass in the actual streaming version.
Yes.
Yeah, the word is bass, isn't it? Bass, isn't it? Like a sea bass, mutated sea bass.
It was probably, if I had to guess, was bit for bit the same as what comes on the disc. If not, maybe it might probably, if I had to guess, was bit for bit the same as what comes on the disc.
No, you want to look at the frequency response on the spectrum waterfall to see if the you play the same scene over and over and do the waterfalls look the same. They're probably going to be different. And then you want to actually get hold of the actual DCP that was actually used in the cinema. Grab well, of course, you got to grab yourself a cinema digital server. You got to grab yourself a CP850 and then hook it all, rig it all up, and then play it back, and then get some sound sampling, waterfalls, and then see if the frequency response is the same. Because that's where you'd notice it. If there's any slight differences in the bass, anything that's being added or subtracted, like with the home, it's a watered down version. They say they were, studio masters, but they're not. They're not studio masters. They're near field mix. They've been tampered with. They've been readjusted because they feel that it won't fit the home. Well, that's nonsense. That's a load of nonsense. These theatrical mixes, it's weird. It's the same DCP package. It plays in a very large auditorium, a DCP, and it also plays in a medium size and a small auditorium. Only the scale of the size of the sound is adjusted to the size of the auditorium. You can't play a small auditorium sound system and put it into a very large auditorium. It won't sound right. It's got to be readjusted until it sounds and fits the size of the auditorium. Yeah, That's a little bit more than just playing a movie on a bloody projection screen, you know.
On the disc, it's not maybe.
Yeah.
It might be a slightly different file.
I don't know. I don't know about Gene DeSella. His staring is very hypnotic. It looks. I don't know. His impression. It's like. I don't know. It's like. I don't know. It looks like he's going to go from normal to psycho in about 1 second. It's scary.
I'm not sure.
So sometimes Kaleidescape has access to even higher bandwidth versions of
Right.
that you can't fit on an optical disc,
Yep.
and that's another advantage.
Oh, what is all this bullshit?
To even higher bandwidth versions of
Right.
that you can't fit.
I'm not sure.
So sometimes Kaleidescape has access to even higher bandwidth versions.
I'll tell you, there's one film media that doesn't have too much bullshit, and that's 35mm. Like I say, you can go out and buy it, and that 35mm plays in all different size of auditoriums. Oh dear. And usually, sometimes, depending on the auditorium, sometimes the auditorium can make you feel makes me feel uncomfortable. Smaller screens at UCI Tower Park, they just didn't look right. They looked very, very odd. Very, very, very awkward to adjust to the and then it's listening because where the screen channels were put behind the screen. Very awkward. And then going into one of the two large auditoriums, and then it's a little bit more comfortable because of the way it's designed. Yeah. Anyway, this is going to be a very short video. A lot of ranting.
Versions of
Right.
that you can't fit on an optical disc,
Yep.
and that's because 90 active RBH SBTRS system in here. We've got photo reference theater. We've got active RBH SB watches streamed content.
Yeah.
Right. This is a reference theater. We've got active RBH SBT.
Reference. This, I suppose, my JBL cinema speakers are reference. I suppose my CP200 is reference. I wouldn't call my Storm Audio reference. It's got too many bugs and it's a little bit too flawed, and it's a bit tricky to set up, sort of thing. I wouldn't call a Denon reference. I wouldn't call a Yamaha reference. I wouldn't call a Trinov reference. In fact, I wouldn't even call the Dolby CP850 reference. Trouble is, this guy that I was talking to, where he saw the alien, Romeus. All the auditoriums only had 7.1, and I thought, yeah, they probably got CP750s and digital DCP server, and all different. They probably all got all the same video projectors, maybe different one for one of the larger auditoriums, and all the other size auditoriums, they probably got the same digital projector. But yeah, CP750s, they're going to be the most cinema processors are going to be in cinemas today. They're going to be 750s, 850, and very, very few at the moment, I would say, got 950s, but there's not much difference, apart from the cosmetic designs. And that's just the audio side. And probably nearly all cinemas are only all outfitted with Dolby processors. I doubt any data sat. Yeah, I think that's taken a back seat, data sat. Like it used to be DTS. Used to be very popular, DTS. But then I think up to about the late 90s, DTS started to fall back a little bit. And then Dolby started coming back in because they want to have all the marbles, they want to have all the beans and be on top.
BTRS system in here. We've got 5 subwoofers, a 21-inch infrasonic subwoofer. We've got, a storm audio processing. We've got a Sievertson infrasonic subwoofer. We've got, a storm audio processing. We've got a Sievertson.
Oh, that's the older storm processor, isn't it? I don't get my storm processor with a red display thing there or whatever. That's got to be I think that's probably the Mark II. It's probably a Mark II or something. I'm a bit disappointed with Storm Audio because it's I don't know. They should have had this screen. They should have had this screen as a touch screen. They should have made the screen a little bit larger size and have it as a touch screen. Because touchscreen has been around for decades. It's been around for donkey years. And that's the best. They designed a processor with push buttons down one side, and the volume dial, which is also which also serves as a push button. But that volume dial is going to be the first part that's going to have a malfunction on the processor. I tend to use it quite a lot. I could use the remote, but then they should have made the screen. They should have made it touchscreen. There've been other processors they've made with touchscreen. I think it was a datasat processor, home version datasat, and it had a touchscreen. But when you look at it now, it's no one would touch it with a barge pole because it can only do so much, and won't touch it with a barge pole. A datasat.
150-inch acoustically transparent screen and a Sony 6000. We got a Sievertson 150-inch acoustically transparent screen and a Sony.
You got a 150-inch screen. Oh. The screen looks too small because of how it's put into the room. My screen's only 120, but it looks like it looks large because it's the way the side walls are, and it just gives, and that's just only an illusion. It's not really. Otherwise, the room's about 10 foot 10 inches, 10 foot 10 inches wide. So I have to work within 9 foot to 9 foot 9 inches, and but again, is there a bit of image here on the scope frame that's been cropped off here with this loudspeaker in the way? And see, you can see it reflecting light. It's reflecting light down the side. Not to mention, he's got a center channel behind the screen, and that center channel is going to reflect because it's going to have sight line with these loudspeakers, and it's going to do some weird reflection, and you're going to get a weird sound in the room. So there you go. You got to keep on listening.
And a Sony 6000 projector. We've got the reference material to build
a reference material. Don't be fooled by all this reference bullshit.
Theater, so you want to have the source to be able to keep up with that. And going from like an Apple TV and watching these movies.
An Apple TV? Do they do oranges and bananas? TV? Apricot? Mandarin? Pineapple?
Is a wildly different experience.
Absolutely. I mean,
to a kaleidescape is a wildly different experience.
Absolutely. I mean, we watched those two scenes, and both scenes were just probably the best I've ever heard it, honestly, in a theater. And
when I played this Top Gun, last time I played it on my system, THX sound system, it felt like a bloody earthquake. But the rest of the sound mixing that went into this Top Gun Maverick was about average. It wasn't an epic movie by any means. I'll just reverse the camera. It was just about an average mix. It wasn't epic. I don't think it deserved the Academy Award for Best Achievement in Sound, because there wasn't any big achievement there at all. I think it just I can see the eyes rolling on Kevin O'Connell, the most nominated AMPAS member, and he only won, and then finally he only wins sound. Probably just so AMPAS can keep him quiet. Let's just give him an award. But Hacksaw Ridge, that wasn't special. It was just about average. It wasn't epic. It didn't have any directional dialogue in it or something. Like if that movie would have been made in the 1950s or the 1960s, it would have used directional dialogue, directional effects. It would seem like be there sort of thing. Only 1960s, the sound recording techniques would be a little different to what the recording techniques there are that would be in the, say, 1980s going into the 1990s. Saving Private Ryan, that uses dialogue panning and such, but not a lot of it. Not a lot of it. So only occasionally you get dialogue panning, but if you're listening for it, then you would hear it. But would I buy Saving Private Ryan from Skywalker Sound just because Gary Rydstrom's redone it in Atmos? No, I certainly won't. I've learnt my bloody lesson enough now. Too much with all this bloody Atmos. Old movies remixed, and they're not using all the original soundtrack elements. And even though probably, yeah, I don't believe I'm not going to believe a single bloody word from any of these YouTube reviewers anymore, because I know they're full of bullshit, especially the ones that have been going around praising Twister and the mixer that done it, Doug Mountain. He shouldn't even be anywhere near a mixing console, much less a dubbing stage, because it is an atrocious mix. It's a con. It's a scam. It's almost similar to the Turbine German edition, only they're adding just a little extra. They're just taking sound from the regular channels or from the surround channel, putting it through some process to minimize crosstalk, and then all they're doing is sticking it up on the ceiling. What a scam! That's not an Atmos mix. Or that is not an overhead. That is not a true discrete. Because if you hear the music elements, they sound the same as all the rest of the soundtrack. There's no individuality. There's no like we'll have this musical instrument and it only plays a certain musical note. There's none of that going on whatsoever. I'm far bloody listening trained now, that I can spot a fake Atmos movie in less than 1 minute. Particularly if it's an old movie, I'm not going to touch it with a bloody barge pole, because I'll be just wasting my listening time. Back to these characters.
Than it ever has been to do that stuff, but at the same time, you're going to run into a lot of headaches, networks issues. Like if you're maybe tech savvy, but you don't know at the time, you're going to run into a lot of headaches, networks issues. Like if you're maybe but at the same time, you're going to run into a lot of headaches, networks.
A lot of headaches. Well, I suggest you take some. Anodin. You're going to get headaches, especially with paying the bloody price of that bloody kaleidescape rubbish. Dear.
Stuff, but at the same time, you're going to run into a lot of headaches. Network run into there. You can do the basic route where you just buy a big hard drive, put movies on.
Oh, big hard drive. I don't want a big hard drive. There's my hard drive. Look at that. Look at all those movies there. Look at all those movies. Keep it physical. Look at all the laser discs. Well, Laserdisc, my Laserdisc collection is starting to look a little bit respectable. Many years ago, I sold off quite a bundle. I think maybe 50 Laserdiscs or so. That was about 20 years ago. Most of the titles I can't even remember which ones I sold off, and it was just for the sake of DVD. And then finding out later that DVD are near field mixers. And then it's like, a little bit later, I get a bit of technology so I can do a bit of testing. And oh, disappointment, my goodness. It was like, sometimes I don't need the technology to do a frequency waterfall. I just play a certain scene over and over and over again of the Laserdisc or DVD. And then I think, why's the DVD got less bass? And why's the Laserdisc got more bass? Huh. Yeah. Or at least it's the same bass, only it's not being tampered with, meddled with, compressed or reduced in some way. But then everyone then has heard about Blu-ray discs getting their frequency response cut off at 30 hertz. What's the bloody point of that? The disc audio format has got a specific, the Dolby Digital has got a specification for all for the full range channel, full range spectrum, 5 to 20 hertz. No, 5 to 20 kilohertz, 5 to 20k, and the LFE is 5 to 120. So why filter it? I don't understand. It's like they think a film like Master and the Commander is going to have problems in the home or destroying loudspeakers or something. Every receiver's got a bass filter to cut it off on the low end. That's the trouble with home theaters. Home theater receivers are rubbish. They only got a filter there to cut off on the low frequencies. If you want a proper loudspeaker management, you got to install a proper loudspeaker management crossover. So where you got proper cinema JBL speakers, you can have the bass drivers crossed over. You can tune the loudspeakers down a little bit lower than they would be in the cinema, because in the cinema they'll be set typically at 500 hertz. There might be some custom designs where they might be set a little bit lower. And then of course you can set the crossover on the HF horn. You look at the specification and you say it says this HF horn can handle down to this amount of low in the hertz range, down to say 400 or even 300 hertz or 200. That's quite impressive. And then you can just put some EQ filters and then shape the frequency so it sounds nice and smooth, doesn't sound harsh. Anyone that says a HF horn sounds harsh hasn't spent enough time to tune it. That's total bullshit. Otherwise, a tweeter will sound tinny or whatever, because it's always going to, when you disconnect all the bass drivers mid-range on a typical loudspeaker freeway and then just listen to the tweeter, it's going to make a sort of sound, and that's usually associated with where the crossover frequency might be. Typically with rubbish like that, you can only put certain crossover filters in. If I try to mimic a tweeter on my JBL HF horns, I can mimic to sound like a tweeter, like it sounds awful. It sounds, but that's like when you look at the frequency response playing in a music mix. and then you can see all the top end thing, and then you put say a 48 dB crossover filter, and then adjust the frequency range on it until you only hear sounds on the HFs. Because that's basically it, the physics, and it only gets worse sounding as it goes up into particularly with music, as it goes up above 10,000 kilohertz, and you think, it's like, maybe that might sound interesting to a cat, but to us mortal humans, it sounds boring. It's like, what the bloody hell is it? It might as well be some sort of data code signal being sent over a HF band on the bloody CB radio or something. It sounds very annoying sounding. Yeah. Until you come down a little bit lower, and then it sounds like, oh yeah, now I can understand it.
On it and put it on like something like an NVIDIA Shield, but still you have to get those movies. Like you have to rip those movies, and that's a whole process in and of itself. You're going to have a lot of kind of headaches and trial and error with.
I don't want headaches and trial and error.
Yeah, it's simpler than it has been in the past, but you're still going to invest time and money.
Yeah, Gene's nodding his head there, thinking, "Oh, I already got a headache. I got." Does he have? Do any of these guys have tinnitus?
Yes.
So another really cool thing about Kaleidescape that you can't do necessarily on your own.
Yes.
So another really cool thing about Kaleidescape that you can't do necessarily on your own is the metadata. So
the metadata, I'm sick and tired of hearing that bloody word.
End credit, intermission cue.
The meta, or the masturbator, the masturbator. So can a Kaleidescape give me sexual pleasure? I mean, look at the price of the bloody thing. I'd want at least some sexual pleasure from the bloody thing.
This allows their players to integrate with your home automation to dim.
Is Kaleidescape good for porn movies?
Shades, adjust.
Do they do a porn hub on it?
Titles roll. The automatic screen masking to match the ratio of each film. The immersive.
What did he say? Masturbate.
The automatic screen masking to match the ratio of each.
The master. It sounded like he said masturbate. Master ratio. What the bloody hell are you talking about, Gene?
Immersive experience of streaming services simply can't achieve that, and you can't really do that on your own. And experience of streaming services simply can't achieve that, and you can't really do that on your own. And that's what's really cool about it, is especially the masking feature. So in this system, I just have a 16:9, but if you have a 235:1.
Yeah, I'm stuck with a 16:9 as well. And yeah, 16:9 doesn't look right.
There's movies like what is it, Christopher?
But I don't really give a damn. As long as I can see that movie in scope ratio, I don't really give a damn.
Changes aspect ratios in Justice League. The Kaleidescape
widescreen ratio movies. What widescreen ratio movies? I just adjust the aspect ratio thing on the projector to make the image have about the same height as a scope movie, the same vertical height, but I make it so it fits like a square, kind of more middle of the projection screen. So it looks like so it would look like yeah. I suppose I could simulate 70mm. So if I make that a bit smaller, the size, and then make the scope image just a little bit smaller, the horizontal, and then I suppose I can say with the 5-screen speaker or something, yeah. I expand it a little bit larger so it goes edge to edge of the projection screen, and then I can call it 70mm if I want. Oh dear. I tell you, the days of seeing proper cinema masking, opening and closing, oh, those days are long gone now. They're long gone. They're totally faded into the history books. Because, you know, you ever heard that song? Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radios. It's just like home theatre killed the cinema star. Home theatre killed the. Yeah, killed it. It. And I nominate George Lucas. He was one of the supporters of DLP projection and rubbish, and I blame George Lucas. Well, we all know George Lucas is a complete fuck up, and that he fucked up all the Star Wars. And hey, that's okay. He fucked it up. We still got the originals. It's not a big deal. Okay. So he fucked up, but they were on a disc format that was going to be a little bit better, and yet the only versions you got on that are the fuck up versions. So, um, but at the end of the day, fucking hell, when I look at Laserdisc and I play it, get it sharp and get it smart, it's like night and day. I'm getting a flashback. That's what it's all about. For anyone else out there that's in their 20s or 30s, you're not going to get a Star Wars flashback because you never saw it at the cinema. You never saw it on its initial run in 1977, 1978, or maybe 79, depending on what country it played in, and it arrived late, because of, you never saw it, you never experienced, yeah, that's experience, or, well, that's seeing it. Or, and was it the same? Was it the same as like what US and the UK, with people queuing up mindlessly, queuing up during the depending on what season, winter time, summertime. Both would be very exhausting, I would imagine. Queuing up in the winter time, it's freezing cold weather outside. um, and then it gradually goes into goes into spring. Star Wars played in the UK from winter time into summertime. And then you notice the difference in the climate and it getting warmer, and you know um, mm, the anticipation of getting in, and just, I don't know, there wasn't anything. I don't know. Maybe there wasn't anything good on TV at the time. Good in the sense, like, well, TV can only do mono. It can't do Dolby stereo. um, and movies shown on TV were never shown in scope. They're always panned and scanned. Um, yeah. Yeah. I queued up to see Star Wars in two different auditoriums. Downstairs, actually the first day one. Um, first afternoon performance was very quiet. It would have picked up by about the second performance. It would have picked up by the second performance, because that's usually typical with. Um, but me and someone, we sneak in to see it, and we're sat near toward the back of the auditorium, because where we sneaked in and we came out into the auditorium, we saw it. I had to get back home, so I didn't see the ending of Star Wars. I only saw it up to where their Han Solo shoots first. Yep, he definitely shot first. poor creature that had to, poor creature Greedo. Um, and that would have been around about almost 4 or coming up to 5 o'clock. And that's winter time, so it's getting dark outside, so I had to get back home. Yeah, I went down and saw it again with a group my age. And we saw it in the downstairs auditorium, screen number 2. We saw it day one in the Cinerama curved screen with overhead surround speakers. Overhead surround speakers in the ceiling, left over by the 70mm Cinerama day, because that's how they had their surround speaker configuration. They had it fitted in the ceiling, so it gives a uniform sound around the auditorium, for the audience. Yep, that's why I say I've been saying it. Overhead speakers have been in the ceiling going back since the late 1960s. Yeah, and all you today, you think it's a new thing, you think it's a new invention that's only been around for since Dolby Atmos. Well, you've obviously not done your history on your sound history. We were soldiers. Sonic hole overhead sound, um, developed partly by Dolby Laboratories, Todd AO, Sound Deluxe, which no longer exists anymore. And all they did was just an encode special film mix where they're just encoding an extra sound where it can be steered with the matrix, on using a Dolby SA10 decoder, or basically a Pro Logic, basically a simple Pro Logic decoder, which is a 4-channel output. The home version of Dolby EX was only a watered down 3-channel version, so it was missing the extra channel. Everyone else was asking, how am I doing this? Because I'm using a Pro Logic. Everyone else has got all the latest Yamaha that says it can do it all, but it can't. It's a watered down version. Even still to this day, you can't get the extra channel on these processors like Storm Audio, Trinov, any AVR that's got that can say like it can do EX, surround EX or whatever. It still doesn't have the extra channel on it. So it's a bit of a con scam, really, if you ask me. You got to actually have the actual decoder to do the actual decoding. Yeah, that's something you lot out there didn't even know. I had that surround like EX or whatever. I had it up and running in my home a full 1 year before it was even publicly announced. I could have had it up and running at the very least 95, but Dolby AC3 was too damn expensive. I wasn't going to get my player modified, and I just had to wait until I saw something coming around the corner that was a little bit cheap. It would do the same thing. I just figured out how to get my bloody Storm Audio processor into another theatre mode. Oh, I've been trying last night to get it into another theatre mode, because this Disney thing, this bloody Disney thing with bloody their sound mixing, or it's not just Disney, there's a few others as well, where you just get height one, or sorry, top height front and top height back surround, on the ceiling, but there's no middle sound. I know if I were to put a movie and say like Ad Astra, that mix or the encode on the playback only plays back on the middle overhead. But if I were to put it in the on the playback on the Storm Audio, if I were to saw something like it's playing back on the height number 1 and height number 3, that's usually the top top channels, then I know there was something screwy going on. I think something maybe when you turn the AV off, turn the processor off at night time, some sort of software or something has been, if the processor is still connected, I don't know, something screwy going on. Because I was beginning to think I've got too many channels, far too many channels in the system that are activated, and they're not really doing squat most of the time. They're not playing any sound out the bloody speaker, unless I use a 5.1 mix and use the up mixer, and then the sound is just duplicated out on all the other speakers. Pretty boring, actually. I just know that there's something a little bit screwy going on. And I thought I could come up with another, I thought I can hammer out an idea to put two ProLogic decoders, connect the left total, right total signals to height number 1, height number 3, and then any phantom sound or panning, any sound that's panning will go into the decoder, and then it will come out on the middle overhead. Because that's what I was noticing, well, at least a year or so ago. But I only added more channels to the processor late last year, about late last year. I added more channels. But I just know there's something screwy going on, which is surprisingly, it's eluded me. But I'm onto it now because I'm totally suspicious. Want a decoder to do it all, don't you? You know, real life sound does it all. At the end of the day, these film mixers are a load of rubbish, and though there's some good ones, and there's some really atrocious, ones. If I play the classic Empire Strikes Back, I play it back here, you're going to be thinking it was Dolby Atmos. Oh no, it's just analog sound. It's just analog sound out from a CP200, going through a bit of a special hand solo modifications I made myself. And then you're going to be leaving, feeling depressed, thinking, how the heck did I do it? I'm not telling you how I did it. It's too complicated to explain. Just enjoy it and think, wow, that's the best I've ever heard it. Because I get wowed, especially when that bloody Millennium Falcon comes up and picks up Luke Skywalker above the cloud city. Wow, freaking heck. Feels like a bloody earthquake in the sky. The thing is pressing against my body. Though, in reality, that would never happen. You would just hear the sound of it. You might feel some of it in your body due to the size of the vehicle and the amount of energy it's got to produce to stay stabilized. But no, generally we don't feel sound pressing against our body. Music, for example. If you go to a concert, listening to a live orchestra, depending on how close you're sat to the front or middle or the back, whatever, does it press against your body? No, it doesn't press. You feel certain bass notes now and then, maybe, depending on, is that an experience? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It depends on where you're standing or sat. And does the next seat feel it? or doesn't. There's lots of things that could say, yeah, I felt it as well. There's lots of ways to test certain things, that you go from seat to seat to seat to seat to seat, and you can play the same sine wave tone and you feel the exact same sine wave tone. Or it's like bass shakers, and you get them designed very carefully, a lot of headache setting them up so that they produce the same vibration with the same sine wave tone, seat to seat to seat to seat. And those seats have got to be very carefully worked out so you get the same feel, etc., 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 etc. It's like you buy Coca-Cola, it's in a bottle. Is it the same amount of volume in the content of the bottle? Is it a fraction different? I don't know. I've never bothered checking or measuring it. Is it the same flavor? The same recipe? That is the same recipe. It is like, say, Coca-Cola. If I buy Coca-Cola from, which I can buy from the USA, and then I buy one from and of course from the UK, and do a taste comparison, and then I would want to go a bit further. I would need to have a contact with someone so that I could say, could you put this in the laboratory and do a analyst of the ingredients to see if they are exactly the same. I'll be very supremely surprised if they are the same. It's like all this bit for bit, you know, all this bit for bit stuff, all this bullshit of home theatre, Dolby True, DTS Master Audio. Like Master Audio, like is a true master of the. No, it's not. It's a near field mix. Dolby True, is it true to the original? No, it's not. It's a near field mix. It's like they say true, like true. They don't call it Dolby Lies HD, which probably wouldn't be far from the truth, actually. And Dolby Master Audio could be Dolby Misleading Audio, because it's embarrassing when I put a laser disc on and it's like the same movie, and it's like it's the laser disc. It's got bass slam. The DTS Master Audio is very weak and it doesn't have any bass slam because they've reduced it. They've put something there to compress it and hold it back. Yeah, sure, if I tweak it a little bit and give it a bit more modification, yeah, I might get it there. But then if I put that Laserdisc back on, frickin' heck, that Laserdisc is going to start pinning me back to the back wall of the bloody home cinema. It's going to be too much. And that's why the Laserdisc wins. That's why everyone, in the early days of home cinema, everyone was bitching and moaning that some of the DVDs were too loud. And now, oh dear, what bloody tune are they singing now, for Christ's sake? We're only talking about going back a little bit over 24 years, 24, 25, 26, 20, about 27 years. And then since that time, things have just gotten worse and worse and worse. It's like the THX program was totally meaningless, but it was trying to put things right. The state of sound playback in cinemas was absolutely appalling. And you know what? You know what's funny? It's reverted back to the 1970s all over again. Just because it's digital doesn't mean it's brilliant. Crikey. Just because a cinema decades ago had 70mm 6-track mag, and I tell you, you certainly would not have that quality standard in the home. Cinema was by far the best blooming sound system you could possibly hear. You know, apart from optical soundtracks, you know, but still. The most we had in that, most a home would have back then would be vinyl, maybe reel to reel. Um, um, and then along came the compact cassette, and eventually the CD. And the CDs were better sounding in the early days. And as it got a little bit more popular, the CD started to become sounding like rubbish. Enter the loudness war. Turn it all up to the bloody hilt, and it's got right up to the top, and it's got no dynamic range to move. You know, it's just a load of rubbish. And that's what Twister sounds like on 4K. It sounds like a CD loudness war. It is a little bit louder than the AC3 or the DVD. That doesn't mean it's brilliant. It just means it's sounding like a loudness CD war. It took me a little longer to cotton on to that, to suss out. There's something a little bit strange about it. Why is this disc sounding way too loud? And then it dawned on me. Oh, it's the loudness CD sort of thing. And the image on it as well, nothing to do with the green colour. The image is rubbish on it. The picture quality is absolute garbage trash. That disc will never be put in my player again, period. The only thing that's going to get played is the laser disc. I don't even bother with the DVD. If I put the DVD on, I might notice some pixelation, but what I noticed with the 4K, I noticed gamma levels, I noticed weird imaging artifacts around Bill Paxton's face, because it looks like Bill Paxton's face has got George Hamilton's suntan faced hot glue to his bloody face. It looks like looks like he had a bad Indian curry and he's feeling really sick in the face. What the? I tell you, you lot out there, you got to be bloody colourblind to not even notice that. Especially when you get a little bit nearer to the screen, and you can see just how crap the image looks. Oh dear, and you don't see as much as that on the turbine one, but the turbine one is still crap. It's got fake Atmos, just for the sake of selling an old movie. And all that Doug Mounting guy did was take a sample sound of the bloody cow, and he's bragging on his bloody Facebook or something. Oh yeah, you'll hear more cow, like cowbell. That's getting a bit long in the tooth. That word, that motto, it's getting long in the bloody tooth, for Christ's sake. And when I heard it, I just laughed at how pathetic sounding it sounded. For one, you wouldn't even hear that cow on the interior of a car mooing around on the outside, not with all that bloody loud noise of a bloody storm, but the interior loudness of the vehicle itself. The windows are all wound up. You wouldn't hear that cow mooing on the outside like you hear it. And a lot of you out there, you believe that's how real sound is. I can't believe how dumb a lot of you out there are. You hear it all the time in these rubbish movies. The camera's on the outside of the vehicle, and yet I don't know what the cliche is called, but I'm sick and tired of hearing it in movies where you have crisp dialogue with all the top end frequency on it, and the camera's on the outside, the windshield there. You wouldn't. The only sound of achievement that should be done for mixing is you hear a load of engine noise, wind blowing around because the vehicle's pushing through air, and it will make a lot of wind noise. I get that same shit if I put my camera on the bike and I happen to be going down a hill pretty fast, and I play back the video and think, but to be truth, that's exactly what I was hearing, because I can hear it on my own ears. if I put earplugs in, I would hear a different sound. It would be less annoying, because all you hear is just wind blowing down into a microphone or into your ear canal. But yeah, that's the exact sound that, but it's not exactly a pleasant sort of thing. But that's, that's what a lot of people wouldn't understand. Um, in any case, back to
It will
these.
see that, it will detect that,
Back
and
to
it'll
these,
automatically change the masking of your system. And that's the kaleidescape will see that, it will detect that, and it'll automatically change the masking of your system. And that's a really slick feature. So if you really want to do impressive cinematic demos, or you want to have the very best representation of that movie in your house, the kaleidescape's going to be the way to do that for you. So on the video side with kaleidescape,
Okay, the kaleidescape would do that. Yeah. Okay, I'll take a pass on that. I've been there. I've been there. I've done cinema projection. There's a thing called an aperture plate on a projector that goes between the film gate, and it's usually well, it depends on what aperture plate it is. It depends on what film gauges or on the projector. Is the projector dual projection, so it could do 35/70, and if it is, you've got to set it up for 70. You've got to change all the things on it and etc. And then you've got a different aperture plate. It's a piece of metal basically. It's basically a masking effect, so it just filters off a certain amount of light, so it's reflecting on one side, it's reflected on the back side, so the light would only pass through a narrow slot on the aperture plate, and then goes onto the film through the lens up onto the screen. That's it. Um, that's one thing I was thinking of trying to do on a projector, put a kind of like a poor man's aperture plate on it, but it would be too fiddly. It won't be like the real thing. And another thing is, video projectors are rubbish. They are too slow compared to the days when I did 35 projection. It was a lot slick, a lot quicker. You had to be on your toes when doing after the trailers, and then it comes up to the main feature. You've only got seconds. You can't have a coffee break. You've only got seconds to perform so many commands, and they got to be absolutely flawless. Otherwise, an audience is going to pick up on it easily. There'll be someone in the auditorium that knows, and would notice it. I'm surprised when when the Hunt for Red October played at Tower Park in Screen. I think it was interlocked. I can't be really certain if it was interlocked, but it played in screen number 5. Though I was pretty sure it was in screen. I'm pretty sure it was interlocked. But anyway, I noticed I was going through. Everyone that is doing whatever they do. You got a watch. You got a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, you got the show times, or what time the film comes off, and what time the next film's got to go on. So you got to lace it up, get it all ready, and there might only be about 3 projectionists on, a chief, or a chief and a deputy projectionist and a junior projectionist, or the junior projection like myself and the other projection team, because we're still learning theory and such in education in the morning in the main projection office. Sometimes there might be 4 of us on. Yeah, but I noticed the Red October. I noticed that I think it was about 30 minutes into the film, and the whoops, go up there quickly, change the lens onto a scope because someone forgot to flip the lens from widescreen to scope. It was opened up for masking for scope, but the image was all stretched. So it wasn't. It had the correct aperture plate on there, but the lens was forgotten to be flipped over. So the audience were watching quite comfortably Red October for about half hour, stretched, and not one single complaint came to management. The image looks a little weird, you know. So just quickly, oops, go up there, press the button down on the lens turret, flip the lens over quickly, and it's in scope, or at least it doesn't look image distorted. But that's the pressures. You know, you got to do so many things in so many seconds. Pretty sure it was Interlock. Because it would be a popular movie at the time. And the projections geared up for interlocking. So it's probably most likely it was probably interlocked. So that means you got one film print in main projection, and then it goes down on one cake platter on one end, and then goes over a few rollers and such, and goes down the corridor, goes down a long corridor down to the next screen, or screen number 6, and then it's partly threaded through the rollers and such, and then goes onto the cake platter, and then all that film would end up being taken off on the next down at the other end, and then of course you've got to lace it up then, and then screen number 6 will play the film first, and then it'll end up with about 2.5 minutes of delay time by it gets down to the next auditorium, and then it starts again at that end, and then ends up at that end, and so on. Yeah, I think it was pretty much interlocked because it was a popular film at the time.
It supports full 4K HDR10. Now, there's no Dolby Vision support yet, as far as I know.
What? No Dolby Vision? Oh my goodness, the travesty.
There's people that are putting a kaleidescape. There's no Dolby Vision support yet, as far.
Dolby Vision. I suggest you lot out there go and get your bloody vision looked out first before you get Dolby Vision. I think Dolby Vision is just a load of rubbish. It's just like a Sony bloody Trinitron being sold during the 70s or 80s. It's like, oh, it's Trinitron color and all this. Oh yeah, you gotta get a Sony Trinitron. It's nothing more than the bloody bullshit of distraction. I don't even have the HDR switched on. I just think it's totally unnecessary. Switch the bloody things off, especially when you get some discs and they freeze up on the player because it's the encoding on the Dolby Vision that doesn't like a certain player, or doesn't like a certain player connected to a certain processor, and then it starts having handshake issues, and then the only solution to the problem there is switch off the Dolby Vision. Problem solved. It's not like you're not seeing color. You're still seeing colour and contrast and brightness and that and shit. I, I think it's a load of rubbish. And seeing that some discs encoded with Dolby Vision, I'll give one example. Superman the movie is crap. It's got video issues on the picture where the helicopter is about to land on the Daily Planet. In the background, on the building, you got a little helicopter pad, shack. That's it, a shack, and you can see it's illuminated with light, but it looks a little bit weird. It looks a little bit gamma. It's got noise in the image, the actual image itself. So, yeah, either that's the transfer, and someone's not looking and doing their job right, and shouldn't be near any of this equipment. Has done that on purpose or accidentally. Doesn't matter which. Blame has got to be put on someone, because they're selling that bloody movie in the thousands of units, and it's making a pot of money for Warner Brothers, and yet it is pretty flawed. Yeah. And there's quite a few other scenes where it's got gamma level issues. Simple things that you wouldn't even see on 35mm projection. You wouldn't see it. It wouldn't happen. The only thing you get on 35mm is pure color, pure sharpness, with pure light projecting it up onto a screen, and that is it.
But most people that are putting a kaleidescape in their home theaters are doing it with front projection. Most people that are putting a kaleidescape in their home theaters are doing it with front projection. And Brad, are there any front projectors that support Dolby Vision?
Not that I'm aware of. There might be one out there, but other than that, we're not seeing any.
Yeah, I don't think that's really an issue of concern, but I just want to.
But other than that, we're not seeing any.
Yeah, I don't think that's really an issue of.
I think this whole Dolby Vision thing is a scam right from the bloody start. Oh, blimey, the OLEDs are supporting it. The projectors are not. Oh, except for one projector now that's got it in it. But it looks pretty cheap, that projector. It looks really cheesy and cheap.
Of concern, but I just want to at least bring that up to attention. So, Ben,
I don't really care for Dolby Vision. I don't care for it. I would not put Dolby Vision or HDR. Basically, I wouldn't put those formats on the lower end of my food chain. I couldn't care less about them. Actually, I think the feature on Laserdisc, where it's got a cinema mode, but that's just a brightness sort of thing. Because the output brightness is a little bit different to other formats. So it's just like a brightness tone control. If the brightness, oh my goodness, it's all over the place. It is all over the bloody. It's all over the place. If it were film, like I say, it's just one brightness light source to project that image up onto the screen under a certain under certain international standards. But for the home, oh, it's a complete shamble. It's a mess. So I just don't bother with stupid AVS forum, or I just think, well, fuck it. There's a thing called a remote control brightness and that, and I'll just use my own eyes and think, just turn the brightness down a little bit. Okay, not too much. Otherwise, I'm going to kill anything that's in the background shadow, and I won't be able to see it. But there's another thing there. There's another thing to the flip side to the coin. If I were to squint my eyes, then I see less light going into my eyes. It does the same process again. Anyway, so I just take it with a pinch of salt, turn it down a fraction, and then it looks okay. And then it's like, does the contrast of all the whites and everything, do they look overdone, or are they a little bit, do they look okay? you know, because if there's too much there, then you get issues. Then the image looks washed out. You can have you can have it calibrated by ISF THX bullshitter coming round to your home, and you've got to pay £500 or 600, depending on how long they're around your home for. Pointless. Pointless. There's no point to having it calibrated. I think if I can get hold of some basic things that can see the red, the green, the blue and such, and I can cut corners, adjust it and think, okay, but you got to see it all in one go. Spectrometer meters are they're not cheap, and it's like how often are you going to use that equipment for? Well, ain't going to go anywhere. It's not going to grow a pair of legs and walk out now. It's going to, you can use it as and when. You can use it at 3 o'clock in the morning if you want to. Do calibration at 3 a.m. in the morning. You don't have to wait for someone to come around at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the daytime. You can do it at 3 a.m. if you want to. So it's just making sure that the RGB colours are all at the same level. I'm pretty sure they're just a little off key on my projector compared to when I look at the OLED. They're just a little bit off. They're just a little bit off, but it's which one's off. I thought I could maybe use some way to cut a corner, and so a video device or whatever can see, because all it is at the end of the day is just a video image being projected, and that's usually camera devices can usually see what the eye can't see. Like, can it see? Oh, no, it probably can't now. Oh no, the light's not flickering there. You know, so I'm looking at the light there, so it's not flickering. It's pretty stable there on the frame rate. I'm just trying anything. Usually certain video devices and certain things will create a light flicker or a frame rate flicker. I think maybe the fluorescent, the light in the hallway will have a flicker on it, very slow strobe flicker. Oh, it's like you go into a TV store, a store, big store, where they got loads of all these OLEDs and whatever other rubbish they got. Oh yeah, it's got a flick. Yeah, it's got a flicker there. See, it's got a flicker effect. That's the light frequency on the light itself, and the camera's not adjusted to that flicker rate. Sometimes I see it on the video projector. This camera sees it. Sees color bars moving. It's not. Is it a flaw to the projector? Could be. If I use my Sony Handycam, oh, I've got to get my bloody t-shirt off. For fuck's sake, bloody hot. Oh. I can adjust the frame rate on the Sony Handycam. I can adjust it very poorly, so it would really see those noise bars moving up and down the image really bad, and or I can adjust it so it sees it okay. I'll tell you, the psoriasis I've got here on my chest here near my heart, I mean, all this bloody psoriasis shit flared up literally overnight. This has been really dormant, asleep kind of, for at least a few years. But since I had a new heart issue, if it's sudden, and being on possibly the medication, it's suddenly flared up within just a couple of weeks. It hasn't even faded yet. Well, looks like a burn mark, doesn't it? Look like a fucking Terminator had fucking a wound. I'm a cybernetic organism. Hasta la vista. Yeah. I'm curious about all the electronics, because they can be tested with other pieces of electronics to see whether there's some sort of flicker thing going on with the electrical components, because it'll always be down to components that would do that. Resistors, I don't think resistors would do it. Capacitors, maybe, certain chips or something that causes an image to flicker, but the actual 35mm has got a flicker to it, or that's why they used to call it the flicks. Let's go to the flicks and watch a movie. Let's go to the flicks. Yeah, if I point the camera toward the sun, it doesn't. I don't see any flickering. I don't see any. Yeah, that's interesting. Point it around at natural light sources and such, and then something that's artificial, and then it starts to see the frequency flickering. Yeah. Oh.
I'm enjoying this experience. I'm going to keep this thing at least until Christmas time. I'm hoping to keep an experience. I'm going to keep this thing at least until Christmas time. Enjoying this experience. I'm going to keep this thing at least until Christmas time.
Christmas time?
I'm hoping to keep it longer if possible. I'm going to do regular updates when I download different movies, and maybe I'll have you back on, and we'll have you come over to some viewing events, and we'll just talk about our experience. We'll give you guys updates on our favorite demo movies on the Kaleidescape, our favorite.
Yeah, everything except original Star Wars.
Here. So if you like this video, please hit the thumb up, hit subscribe. Don't forget about our channel partner too. So Dream Media made this all.
No, thank you.
They set us up with this unit. If you're into a Kaleidescape and you want to get consultation from them, please hit the affiliate.
No, I am definitely far from into Kaleidescape. I'm not stupid to spend that amount of money on a plastic box with a pack of electronics inside it. You know, most of the electronics inside it are going to be pretty common, except for certain other parts of electronics that are only designed specifically for the box. It looks like a black box. It could be actually a black box that goes on an airplane. A black box.
Affiliate links down below. Don't forget about.
Can it play Firefox?
On our Patreon channel at patreon.com/audiohogs. We appreciate your support. You get direct access to me if you want to suggest video topics. And until next time, my friends, keep listening.
What? Keep listening?
And until next time, my friends, keep listening.
Don't you mean keep watching? Because that's what it's all been about, isn't it? You're watching the Kaleidescape. So you keep on watching. I know what to look for, I know what to listen for, I know what to feel for. So that's 3 things. And one of them is not going to be Kaleidescape. They're trying to push it to seduce into. I don't see it as an investment. I see it as a waste of money. If I was a billionaire, I still wouldn't want to. A Kaleidescape would be on the low end of the food chain. I wouldn't even want to. I'll be buying the real fucking thing. Oh. At the end of the day, they're just video devices. They're just video devices that you can't hold them up to light. Like, where is it? Got it here somewhere. There we go. There we go. Turn that around. Yeah, real 35mm. You know, it's transparent. You can see through it. You know, when that image is projected onto a screen, it's total opposite. It's going to be total opposite to a, you know, it might look colour near close as possible, but it's still the real thing. The real thing is, yeah, that's Mr. Spock. Star Trek, the motion picture, Mr. Spock. Not sure how they did these cells. Uh-oh, I got a hairball on my cat magic. Ah, great. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, yeah. Yeah, anyway, that's the end of the rant video. More bullshit on YouTube. More bullshitting. Oh dear. Oh, fucking hell. I am so far from out of shape. And I'm really pissed off. I'm really fucking pissed off. I've got barely enough energy to walk around. It's okay. It's quite okay. I accept that my cats will go into a care home and all this immaterial home cinema shit that I got will go into probably a landfill. I don't really care. I won't be around. I won't have a conscience. I won't have a soul or whatever. I accept that I may only have a few more years. I really don't see myself living into my 60s. It might be a miracle. I've got to be optimistic, but I just don't see myself getting any better. So bloody exhausting just to walk from here to the kitchen. It's so exhausting. So I don't know. It'd be a miracle if I get my heart operation, get the rhythm in my heart to go like this. But it's only doing this at the moment. But I still say, to the end of the day, the MD doctors, the medical doctors are. I still say it's something going on or something screwy to do with my tummy, and it's causing. It's transpired. The condition has moved over and caused the condition with my heart. But I don't know. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say, because I talk to other people that have heart AF, and I ask them, do you have any difficulty walking any pressure, any discomfort on your legs. And most people I've spoken to say, nope, I've not noticed any of that, what you're describing. So I guess it's different for everyone. But, most of the time I'm in bed now, relaxing. That's all I can do. I'm very pissed off that because I thought early of the year, January, I thought, oh crikey, it's gonna mess up going out in the summertime when it warms up. But I didn't know that with the temperature, it was going to be even more of I didn't know with the temperature that it's going to stick me in the bloody hospital. I lost count how many times I've been in and out of the bloody hospital this year. Every time I attempt to go out on the bike has been the temperature, or the ambient temperature, the air has been around about 24 Celsius, or a little bit hotter than that, a little bit hotter than 24. My body system now, because it's out of parameters with my heart rhythm, it can't compensate. It can't work with it. And it landed me in bloody hospital, almost when I collapsed down on the promenade. Almost collapsed, I would say, almost collapsed. And people were just helping out, trying to think, what's wrong? What's going on? Are you having a heart attack? And I say, no, I'm not having a heart attack. My blood circulation is not correct percentage. It should be something like 100%, and it's way less than that. And that's what keeps the body function. Like, say, will a kaleidescape output 100% streaming, or output whatever 100%? Will it do that? 35 mil, it outputs, I would say, 100%. It's pure image, pure color, up onto the screen with pure light, behind it. Though it's not real pure, it's xenon light. But anyway, is it 100%? Sick and tired, fucking sick and tired of being in that hospital over and over. And the most I wouldn't say embarrassing. I go for a chit chat to talk about my heart condition. They do an ECG. They did an ECG on me. That was a couple of months ago now. And as I leave and go walking through the corridors, making my way toward the entrance to get a bus back home, I started getting this issue again that I had about a week before, where my eyes went dilated, and everything, all my vision went completely blurred. Brightness, all I could see was bright white light. I couldn't see anything else. I thought, oh no, not again. I didn't even make it out of the hospital. And then I spent the next 7 to 8 hours in the hospital. I go through A&E. They check me out. They check my blood pressures. Was it low? Was it high? Was it low or high with my blood pressure? No, it was low. It was low. My blood pressure was way too low, which will probably explain why I felt like lousy. And yeah, so I spent the next 7, 8 hours until they could figure out. At least one doctor had a bright idea of putting me on salt water So it's basically water with salt in it, sort of thing. In the attempt to raise my blood blood pressure back up to a normal parameter. So that's normal there. And if it's down there, it's too low. If it's way up here, it's too high, and it's got to be in a certain narrow band. And that worked. You know, that took 30 minutes. That was near almost the end of the day when I was there, and that seemed to work. And the week before, I was at Pool Hospital because my eyes went dilated. I only got 20 minutes of cycling time, and the next thing I know, I end up at the bloody hospital overnight because my blood pressures were out of parameters. As far as my diabetes type 2, my diabetes levels are usually within between 8 and 10, sometimes 8. So I know that's controllable. So as long as I don't stuff myself with 100% sugars, literally, I shouldn't have a problem, Houston. And the same would go with salt, as long as I don't overdo it with salt, because that will send my blood pressure high. Yeah. Either way, we're all screwed. Look at my bloody legs. My leg looks like it had severe bloody first level degree burn. It's all flared up overnight. Oh dear. I'm just really pissed off with all the stupid videos on YouTube, with all the bullshitting and all this brainwashing of trying to suck people into sucking their money out their wallet. Oh, it's your wallet if you want to have it sucked out. You know, it's your wallet. Go and buy the kaleidescape if you think it's going to make your life any better. Will it make my life better? No, it's not going to make it better. I'd rather put a good old laser disc on and think, wow, it's the odd dog. It's the underdog. It's the odd format. So what if the picture's a little shabby? I look at Twister on Laserdisc and I think that's not a bad transfer. I've seen far worse. And it doesn't have that color banding issue, which is usually associated with very rarely, I think, with a DVD. You see a color banding issue, but mostly I have noticed it with 4K, Blu-ray, even streaming services, that color banding noise where it looks like a very strange circular or curved. You wouldn't see that on 35mm film. It just wouldn't register. It wouldn't be there. Yet when they do transfers and then they get streaming stuff, and you see how poor quality it looks. Like, I'll give one example: the opening to Titanic. There's so many different versions to buy on disc. You won't see that happening on the Laserdisc. Might marginally just be a little bit there on the DVD, but it's definitely there on the special edition DVD box set that they released with the seasick color that they produced on it, because they messed around with the color. The color of the blue sky had a kind of green tint on it. It looks terrible. And and then they came out with a crappy Blu-ray disc a few years later, and that looks, I don't know, that Blu-ray just looks wrong. I don't know, it looks crap. And of course, now you've got the crappy Titanic on bloody 4K. I projected that fucking movie at Warner Brothers. I've seen that movie like 12 times or something at the cinema and projected it, and oh, crikey. So what? So what? Big deal. Um, oh, I can hear my neighbours below me. They probably got a sound bar on their TV, I guess. I'm just trying to see what film they're listening to, what they're watching. I can just hear a middle range frequency response. Just the middle. That's probably where the frequency range is peaking the highest. I can't hear the high range. I can't hear the low range in there. I can just hear a middle range. But it's something that my ears are not registering as a something that I've already heard in a film. If I put my ears to the wall, I might pick up a bit more frequency response. But their TV is mounted to this side of the wall below, because I can see it from the outside. I can see it from the window. So the TV's mounted about middle of this wall below me. But I can't tell whether they got a sound bar, an actual space. It does sound like they got a sound bar on it. Unless it could be the actual loudspeakers on the OLED or the flat screen, whatever. Because I would have thought a sound bar would just have a little bit of bass, and I don't think it's a sound bar. It could be just a regular TV speaker. And like that TV there, I don't even use it. It's not even connected. It's not even connected up. I just mounted it on there just to put it out the way so it won't get damaged. But I've not even bothered to connect it up. um, you know, it's only I forgot what size that is. I think it's a 49 inches. 49 inches. The OLED is 65 inches and weighs like an ankle weight. Very awkward to pick an OLED up. It's a two-person job to pick the damn things up. They're so heavy. And yet I could pick that up. It's easy. But it's still bulky. It's still bulky to move around, but yeah, can't hear any music now on the what film they were watching below. What they I don't know what they're watching. Millions. There's millions and millions of movies worldwide. Could be anything. .35mm. I don't miss it. Don't miss it at all. It's interesting just to look at the colour and the comparison, and I can compare it to if I got myself a slide projector, I could put that into a slide projector and project it up onto the screen next to the, you know, so I reduce the image on the video projector so it's a little bit small, yeah, and then put two images on the projection screen side by side and see which one is the winner. I know the 35 is going to be the winner, hands down, because it's the original. But it'd be interesting to see the result, and then think, maybe adjust some of the parameters on the projector to get as close, near close to the color tone. I almost did that on my other LG TV that had all these parameters to adjust all the color settings. I had a load of settings on it, and I was looking at a 70mm print, a 70mm frame on the internet of Ghostbusters, and then comparing it to the DVD and noticing the DVD's a little bit off, and the frame of Ghostbusters, which was on a light box, so you got a light box light behind it, so you can see the image. And I was thinking, oh yeah, I'll adjust this parameter. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, leave that there. Okay, adjust, and then I got near close, and it looked probably about as best as it would. And then a few days later, my cat Sooty did something to the OLED, maybe drooling, dribbling, and all his saliva and that went down on the OLED and killed the OLED. Not the OLED, the LCD. It was an LG LCD screen, and he killed it. And that wasn't the first time he killed it. He's killed a couple of CRT screens, because cats, they like sitting on warm things, and sometimes they drool, and that's going to dribble down onto the electronics now, and that's not going to be good. Yeah. Of course, I've got another LG. It's an OLED, and it's got bundles and bundles and bundles of color parameters to adjust until you can get the, you know. But you put another movie on, and the colors are going to be totally out of position. So all this color calibrating is a total waste of bloody time. You know, you can get it all calibrated, whatever, but then you're down to the mercy of the content itself, especially all this 4K rubbish. God, what I've been seeing so far has been absolutely atrocious. I mean, several things you get atrocious with it. This distill format, bloody digital noise reduction, DNR, edge enhancement, gamma levels. Oh my goodness, color blind colorists that shouldn't even be near this equipment. Oh yeah, it's an absolute holy mess out there. You know, it's very rare you're going to come across something and you think, wow, that looks pretty decent. I've seen far worse, but that looks pretty damn decent. And usually it's a movie that's not very overrated. It's very underrated, and it looks pretty damn good. But when you get all these overrated movies, they put lipstick color, they put lipsticks they put lipsticks pig's lipstick. They apply pig's lipstick to the bloody thing, and it looks atrocious. I'm pretty sure I got Gladiator on Blu-ray, and it's a pressing where it doesn't have edge enhancement on it, whereas a little bit you can see a little edge enhancement, I think, on the DVD, but I can't think where the heck I put that bloody Blu-ray. I've looked all over my shelf, all over the place. I looked all up, high and low, and I can't even see where I put the damn thing. Can't even see where I put it. It's a bloody mess over there. Everything's out of It's all jumbled up over there. It's not. It used to be organised, and now it's all a jumble. But surely I should be able to see it. It's like the bloody movie, Spaceballs. Comb the desert, comb the desert. And I combed it. I went over it and over it and over. I don't know where I put the bloody disc. I'm pretty sure I did buy it. Oh, oh, Gladiator. Yeah, Gladiator, the number 2. That's going to be a stinker. That's going to be a guaranteed. What's that smell? It's going to be a stinker. It's like there's a bit of boredom, and there's there's not much outcry for a Gladiator 2, really. Is everyone screaming for Gladiator 2? I'm not. I couldn't care less. I think they'll just ruin it. The first one just seems to be a one-off, and it seemed to have worked very well. I don't think a second one is necessary, and a second one will only be necessary for the sake of fucking Dolby Atmos and fucking stupid Dolby Vision. That's all, you know. And crappy IMAX, aka Limax. That's all it'd be for the sake of, and some really crappy more CGI, for God's sakes. Yeah. Oh. Oh, you know, had they made a sequel, maybe 4 years after maybe Gladiator, it may work. But it's well over 20 years now. It won't work. Or will it? Or maybe audiences are a little bit more cynical now. I am. I'm certainly cynical. I couldn't care less. I'd rather stay at home and sleep. That's why I'm avoiding Alien Romeo. Romeo and Xenomorph. Romeo, where are you? Romulus, where are thee? I'm Xenomorph. Give me a hug. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Yeah, I couldn't really care. Yeah, I saw a funny thing the other day with the alien thing, the swim adult sort of thing, the robot chicken, and I thought it was funny, but at the same time, it totally ruined Alien and Aliens, because I can almost take those movies like they're being a little bit serious. There a bit of joke or humour somewhere in it, you know, just as there is with real life, but they had a more serious tone. But I just thought it was so funny when this alien, they're reenacting the where the xenomorph comes up to the elevator, and then Hicks shoots the alien, and it gets alien acid on his. Get it off, and the door closes, and then you got this. And then you see what happens to the alien on the other side. It starts bleeding and going through the floor, and then going for another floor, and then lands on an Acme box. Acme, like as in the what you see in the Roadrunner with the Wile E. Coyote. That's where it got so damn funny. Oh. And then the alien falls down it, and then the Acme box falls on top of the alien. Splat! Oh, the alien was done in then. Totally done in. Oh, it's so funny. But it also ruined it for me. Because, you know, all the, you know, it's like, yeah, this deal's getting worse all the time with The Empire Strikes Back, and you will put on this skirt and you will ride this unicycle. I'm not doing that shit. This deal's getting worse all the time. And then Darth Vader comes out again saying, "Oh dear." Uh, but that sort of thing, that sort of humour, has been ongoing for decades. Mad Comic, where you got Mad Comic, if anyone remembers that comic, called Mad. You just get different versions of it today, and it's done in video, and it looks very funny sometimes. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, holy fuck. Holy fuck. Fuck me. I've got to take my medication. Gosh. Oh. Oh. Gosh almighty. Oh. So what have I learned today? What have I learned from Kaleidescape? Oh, it's like Dr. Strangelove, and how to stop worrying about the Kaleidescape price. I wouldn't have Kaleidescape if it came off the back end of a lorry. Not interested in it. Not interested. I think I unsubscribed to Netflix because I got so bloody fed up with their crappy service. The content they got on there is a load of rubbish. And picture quality was no better. Bloody noisy images, crap, load of rubbish. It's like someone, okay, going down the road and scoring some drugs. You get some good shit and you get some bad shit, and it's like going on streaming services to score some movie shit. Yeah, you get good services, good shit, and some bad shit. It's like drugs, and everyone needs a fix. They need to inject it into them, all the ones and zeros, to get their buzz, or they start going cold turkey, because they're banging their heads against the wall because they're not getting their fix of streaming. Yeah. But Laserdisc, it just sits there. Most titles I got in the kitchen, near the players, and there's some titles that would be kind of popular to play. My top playing one is Aliens, mostly open map version, open map. Very decent, I have to say, a very decent PAL transfer. Oh, I would have been expecting something very, very poorly, but not bad in the transfer. It's got a little video issue due to the age of the disc. Doesn't have much in the way laser rot. I think the laser rot on it is probably not even 10%. It's very low, very low. But that's not bad considering the discs were pressed, manufactured back in 1986. And whoever the video engineer was, wow, he obviously knew how to do a transfer, because it doesn't have much in the way of video color issue flaws. Though the techniques and sort of back then were compared to now, but not bad, not bad. I've seen far worse. Some of the early PAL transfers compared to some of the later ones where they look a bit, I don't know what bloody hell's going on, but obviously the video engineer has changed, or it's the history of where it's been transferred, duplicated, the whole process stage until it's out on the market. I like some of the early editions of PAL Laserdiscs. I wanted to get Who Dares Wins on PAL Laserdisc, and it's only available on PAL Laserdisc, not available on NTSC. But I wasn't too sure about the selling item. It looked like the disc had some sort of damage, surface scratch damage on it, and I wasn't too sure. But if I bought it, I would probably guaranteed I'll probably be seeing a print version. So it's got real dots, Q dots in the corner. It would have been a print version. But analog audio, so it'll only be on the FM analog audio track. Usually depending on a disc with laser rot, if it's got some laser rot on it, it's going to affect the analog track very severely with a lot of noise, kind of sound. Whereas if the laser rot was very bad and you got PCM audio as well, digital sound, you get little spike sounds now and then, occasionally little tiny spikes, a little jump in the sound, like a sort of thing. Or if it's really badly damaged, the disc and such, and then you get a kind of sound that will sound like, that's it, that's more like it, sound, where it's going like 10101010 really quick, and it just makes this very annoying pulsing sound. With a crappy 4K, you don't, that doesn't happen. The disc just completely freezes up, and then you think, is it the player that's doing it? I got a second backup 4K player. I'll try it in that and see if I still see the same issue. I've got an issue with that crappy Star Trek movie, the crappy one, Into Darkness. It doesn't like being played in the Panasonic 9000, but it doesn't mind Panasonic 900. Kind of curious of the electronics or the laser or whatever, etc. Because it starts pixeling in one player, and it's just totally unwatchable. I've got to switch it over to another player. So you've got to always have a backup. If you're going to have 4K in the home, you've got to have a backup. You've got to have two players, two different models. You know what? I think the Panasonic 9000 is a little overrated. It's overpriced. It's overrated. I bought it and I wouldn't endorse it. The Panasonic 900 is a little cheaper, but the trouble with the 900, it's so fucking plastic. Almost similar to one of the Sony Blu-ray players I have, which is most of the chassis or the casing on it is fucking made of fucking plastic. Until you take all that plastic covering off, and then you've got an alloy, a metal alloy sort of chassis. Um, but the rest of all the cosmetic design is fucking plastic. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. A laserdisc player, usually the front part of the front panel on a laserdisc player is plastic. Um, the rest of it, the chassis, the lid, it's all metal. Um, most AV receivers, AVP, audio processor receivers, and are a percentage of fucking plastic and fucking metal chassis. The THX, what's it? The THX TX 100 or STX SA 100 that I have, that partly built and designed by Thomas and Holman. That fucking motherfucker is built like a fucking tank. I'm not sure what the front face part of it is made of, but it's pretty sturdy. But the rest of the casing on it is all metal, steel kind of sort of chassis. Pretty strong build. And got that very cheap. If I could sell that thing, being one of the first THX home things on the market, though it came with a video processor as well, because I've only got the audio processor part. It also had a video processor that went with it as well. Not being able to find that. But no, the actual thing itself, I could probably sell that for a bundle of money. But someone sold it at a very honest price, very cheap. And there was only a few of them left on eBay. There's none on eBay at the moment now. But there's still many units made, so that means they're still out there in circulation. It's like people that like to buy vintage. Tape deck, reel to reel, I'm not interested in it. Seeing the prices are so absurd. Absolute absurd prices. I'm not paying that stupid absurd money. Wouldn't mind a reel to reel, but I think, would I get any? Would it make my life? Would it enrich my life? Would it fill the hole in my life? And then of course it's getting hold of the reel to reel. And then thinking, it's too damn expensive. Threading it up onto the reels, onto the it's got to be done with, handled with care, otherwise you end up damaging the tape. So yeah, yeah. And is the actual quality of the recording, the frequency response, if it were measured with a spectrum waterfall, compare it with a compact cassette, vinyl, CD. Even though the music recording itself is sourced from magnetic, At the end of the day, it's sourced from magnetic. The mixing and all that is, and then it's all sourced from magnetic. You listen carefully hard enough on some of the DVDs of some movies or such, or even whatever. It depends on which. And if you are film nor techno sort of, you know, savvy, then you know that film was back in its day was all recorded on magnetic. And if you turn up the levels, you can hear some of that magnetic sound in the soundtrack on the discs, unless they've used some noise reduction to filter it or some other form of to clean it up, so you wouldn't notice it. It will go completely unnoticeable. But I can hear it in Alien on DVD. I can hear some of the magnetic sound. Um, 2001: A Space Odyssey, um, where the bone is thrown up into the air, and then it goes very silent. And if you turn the fader, you turn it really up loud, though you're going to have to turn it down eventually because it would do damage to the sound system. The audio levels would do damage to the sound, the amplifiers and speaker. But if you turn it up, boom, 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 you can just hear that magnetic soundtrack. um, yeah, that's something that Gene DeSella doesn't keep on listening to. um, and then, of course, vinyl. Vinyl is sourced from magnetic tape, but it's converted onto but because it makes that sound, it's because the disc is turning around, and then the stylus on it, and you get that kind of noise. So I suppose it's very hard to tell if you can hear the magnetic part of the recording on the vinyl, because it'd be there, but it'd be, where would it be? It's going to be down here somewhere, and up there at the top you got this sort of sound. With Laserdisc on analog, because of the rotation of the disc, you get a different type of sound. You get a kind of like a humming sound sort of thing. Very, very low level, very, very low down. Um, Usually you can hear a lot of it sometimes when you got the turtle on the Laserdisc on the blank side of the Laserdisc, and it says turn the Laserdisc over for content is recorded on the other side, and you can hear, because there's nothing there. It's just a turtle, or it might be a blue screen with saying turn the Laserdisc over, and you can hear the sound of the what's it. Um, yeah, yeah. Anyway, that's that. I'm turning this shit off now. I don't know if I'm bloody exhausted of all this crap. How do I turn this off? Do I press this button up here, I think? Oh, no, no, no. Don't do that. Why? Because this whole part of the bed comes up and goes up into the air. Ejection bed? You're kidding. I never kid about my work 007. So I'm just a little bit not too sure about pressing that there. I'll just press it. Bon voyage on 3, 1.